Looking stunning as usual.
Thank you.
I know that you were backstage watching Judy Maisel talking about her diet. Of course, everybody wants to know how you manage to keep the figure and everything. Do you go along with this Beverly Hills diet?
Well, I have to say one thing. I'm not too mad about fruit. I know one should be, but ever since I read Judy's book, she gave it to me about 6 months ago, I have started to eat pineapple, which is considered to be one of the best things that you can eat, and papaya. But basically, I eat a sort of sensible diet. I eat a lot of salads. I like vegetables and raw things like beetroot and onions and things. And I don't eat very many sweets and buns and sticky things and chocolates. I don't like that. And I think that if you like to drink wine, which I do, you can't eat dessert at the same time, or even afterwards or before. So you have to make a decision about what you're going to do. But I think basically eating sensibly is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And I do think we only have one body, and it's got to last us a long time. So you've got to do the best you can to keep it up.
Well, may I say you're making an extremely good job of yours. And of course, men all say you've never looked so good. Women just want to know how you do it and the name of the tablets. So, what's the secret?
I don't really have a secret, Gloria. I must say I'm very lucky in that I come from a family who all look extremely good. I think that has to do a lot with genes and with hereditary. So I basically just take care of myself without being at all faddist about it. I do believe strongly in vitamins. I take, or vitamins, as they say. When I say them, I say, I'm going to take my vitamins. They say, oh, yeah, vitamins. And I take lots of C, because I smoke a bit. Not that much, I'm trying to cut it out. I know it's that bad for you. And I take E and A and B, which is good for stress. And I take these sort of through the day. And lecithin, which is also very good. We're supposed to get rid of the fat. I've taken that recently. But, I mean, I think everybody wants to be a bit thinner. I'd like to be a bit thinner. I'd like to be about 5 pounds thinner and 3 inches taller. And nobody's satisfied with themselves, you know that. I mean,
you have, of course, your own beauty book, which was brought out some time earlier. Does exercise feature a great deal in either your recommendation or in your own life?
Yes, it does. Before I started Dynasty, I would religiously exercise at least 2 times a week. But since I've started the show, I haven't had any time at all. I mean, I really literally haven't had the time to do it, and I'm so exhausted after working for 14 hours. So I haven't been exercising, which is really very bad. But I think that I have sort of programmed myself since my daughter was 10 years old, so that was 10 years ago, I've been programmed so that I'm in fairly good shape. So about once a week I get on the floor and try and do a few things, but it's not really perfect. So I'm going to try and do better. That'll be my New Year's resolution in another 3 months.
Because in fact, your new film, The Nutcracker, is centered very much around dance. And in that, you've introduced a lot of very young, talented dancers as well, haven't you? Did you enjoy actually this exposing of new talent, young people?
Absolutely. There's a wonderful girl in it called Finola Hughes, who was a dancer who was in Cats. And she is not only a superb dancer and a very pretty girl, but she's also a wonderful actress. And I would stand, as I was supposed to be, an ex-ballerina, watching her and in the show and in life. And I was terribly impressed by not only what she does as a dancer, but also what she does as an actress. And also Paul Nicholas is in it, who was also in Cats. He doesn't do any dancing. He plays the Fleet Street person who's on her trail. And there were also a lot of dancers. They were very good. The dancing sequences are absolutely beautiful, really, really lovely.
Let's come to Dynasty, as you call it in the States, because you have really developed, I mean, not only being the toast of America, as I mentioned earlier on in the program, but you've also developed this rather tough image along with the sophistication, along with the glamour. And this seems to be following your career at the moment, doesn't it?
Yes, it's an interesting combination for American audiences, I think, because, first of all, they don't have any English women on TV at the moment. And I think that what they like about my character as Alexis is that she is strong and she is wicked and she is Machiavellian and manipulative and she plots things a lot and she's what my father used to call a mixer. You know, she gets in and stirs it up. But there's a side to her that is the other side, which I try to bring out as much as possible, because I think it's important, which is a sort of humorous side. In other words, if Alexis, if you were going to take somebody out to lunch and have a really good time, she would be a very good person to take out to lunch. But don't turn your back, otherwise she might stab you in it.
As I said, too, you've got JR virtually shaking in his boots. I mean, so much so are the ratings in America, and of course, newfound success for you on a continent that presumably you weren't really very well known.
Well, I wasn't known at all. I mean, it's exactly a year, November, the first week in November, that the show first aired in the States, and they didn't really know who I was. I mean, they knew my name vaguely, and they vaguely knew my face because I'd been in a lot of things, but I was not a person that Americans get to know. And it's much, obviously in England people know me because I've been acting here all my life practically. It's much more difficult to get known in America because it's such a vast country. I mean, it's immense, and you think of America as just like you think of England, everybody is English, which they are, but people are different in America. And people are different in Texas to the way they are in Washington, to the way they are in California, to the way they are in Montana. All the states, it's like a different country. People think differently in each of those states. And the thing about Dynasty that's happened is that the big cities, the cosmopolitan cities like San Francisco and Chicago and New York and Los Angeles are the ones who started out by liking Dynasty and by supporting it instead of taking over from Dallas. And now it's spreading through to Middle America, which is, of course, the most difficult place to get to because they're, there's a part of Middle America that's quite provincial and rather staid. So, you bring in this kind of flash English broad, and they don't know quite where to look. I think they like enough.
I was just going to say, has it surprised you, the success you've had in America so quickly?
Yes, it has, I must say. Because it's the most difficult market to break through in by far. It's not so difficult to break through in parts of Europe or in England because they are smaller. To break through in America, whereas there is so much competition. I mean, and there are so many TV shows, and there are so many television channels. I mean, I have got a television set, and I can get 28 different channels on that television set. And I could stay up day and night watching television and watching a different thing all the time. So to break through it's very, very, very hard, and very few people actually get to do it. And for the show to break through as well as it has to have gone into, from being, it was sort of number 40 in the ratings, and then it crept up, got to be sort of 25, and then it was in the top 10, and then it was in the top 5, and then it was number 1 the last couple of shows before the break. And now the break finished, and we started again on Wednesday. We aired the first show of the new season on Wednesday, and it was straight up to number 2, which is fantastic, and everybody's terribly thrilled. And there's something very exciting about being associated with something that is really successful. And I go to places, I go to shops or restaurants or wherever, and people always asking me about Dynasty. What's going to happen next? Is he going to die? What's going to happen to the baby? And of course I can't tell them because that spoils the fun, but it is a sharp show. I mean, it started here, and I think it's coming, the parts that I'm in are coming out in January. And I think I hope it's going to take off here. If they like Dallas, they're going to love Dynasty.
There was also talk of you doing a full feature film with Leonard Rossiter as well. Is that likely to come about?
I hope so. We had a script that we both liked, and then what happened, the trouble with the British film industry at this particular time, 2 years ago, was that they only wanted to make films that cost $25 million. And this film would have cost a couple of $1 million, but it was a low-budget film, and it would have just been indigenous to Britain. And the backers were not willing to put the money up, which I thought was very short-sighted because there was quite a bit of interest in Leonard and I working together. Now, hopefully, we have got a couple of ideas that we'd like to do, and I think we work well together. I mean, I adore him. I think he's just smashing and funny and warm, and it's kind of like The Odd Couple. I think that's why people like our combination. So the problem, of course, is that I'm in Dynasty, and so I may not be able to do it for a year or so, but I hope, Leonard, are you listening? I hope we get to do it.
Well, Joan Collins, thank you very much indeed for being our star guest today, and let's hope we see you back again in London very soon indeed.